To be or not to be, that is the question.
存在或不存在係個問題。
Ang makairal o hindi, yan ang tanong.
Inahemea ay olehemea oleya, o yan o kaninaw.
죽느냐 사느냐 그것이 문제로다.
Ser ou não ser? Eis a questão.
生きるべきか否か、それが問題です。
Stay or not stay? That's the question, eh?
Oh, you know what, Dave, you go on boat, all right? John, you go on boat. Go on. Time you go 2, they're on 3. You guys go this side. The same like the other day, I'm go about 3 times, but when you're coming down sprint sometimes, then lengthen out.
So, Jay, let me read them? I'll go read them.
Tell the second time. Yeah.
People think Pidgin one language. Yeah, that's my language. That's the language of my heart. Maybe I don't use them every day because I don't see people who only speak Pidgin, so I just speak to them or talk to them in standard English. But if somebody talk like this to me, well, I mean, just come natural for talk. I guess because it was from small kid time. That's how I was talking. It's the language of Hawaii. I mean, I don't want to say the Hawaiian language not important. That's the indigenous people's language, and that's great. But the Hawaii we know today, for all the immigrants that went come from all over the place, Japan, Philippines, China, Portugal, when come together, that's the language.
Yet people ask, what's Pidgin? Pidgin one language we talk in Hawaii. More than half the people here. Different from Hawaiian. Maybe a little bit like English, but get all kinds of stuff from other kind of languages mixed in. Like from Hawaiian, Cantonese, Portuguese, Japanese, Korean, Filipino. You know, other people when work the plantations.
At the time when they started the plantations in Hawaii, the power on the plantations were primarily English speakers. The immigrant groups do not know each other's language. They're different languages. So in order to communicate with each other, they are using English or whatever English they can hear. So let's say a Japanese immigrant and a Portuguese immigrant trying to speak English to each other, but throwing in features from their own first languages as well. That's how Pidgin start. One of the interesting features about Pidgin, it has to get vocabulary from somewhere. So one of the things it does is it borrows a lot of vocabulary from the languages around it. I can sort of hear my grandmother saying stuff. It's something like, you raiki banana, you wiki wiki kau kau mai tai. The meaning of that, you raiki banana, if you want this banana, you wiki wiki kau kau. You quickly eat it, mai tai, it'll be okay. The word manapua, which have been reported to have come from mea ono pua'a. Okay, so mea thing, ono, delicious, pua'a, pig. Right? So delicious pig thing, right? So manapuas are those buns that have the pork inside of them, and I can imagine, I mean, I don't know exactly when it started or what happened, but I can imagine someone, Hawaiian coming up and asking a Chinese guy, give me that delicious pig thing, So mea ono pua'a. And then mea ono pua'a then becomes manapua.
Oh, now you have roast pork too. Roast pork, I like 1, 2,
and roast duck.
So who we are, all that we think and do on this island, all that stuff that make Hawaiian culture is is kind of captured in the language. So who we are as people in Hawaii, with all the nationalities, I think this is one of the things that stamp us as Hawaiians. So it's important to us.
So I bought two, so she bought one. She said, oh, I'm going to buy one. She copycat, you know. You copycat, you know, she. No, I'm learning. That you're going to put in lastly. You don't put it in a bowl, cook like that. You spoil it. You spoil the taste. All the taste. But you use the juice, though. Yeah. Last minute, you can put the juice on the tea. Oh, the whole thing inside.
Shoots!
Okay. All right.
Woohoo! Shoots, brother. Oh no.
Delicious.
Oh, Ete. This boy, oh no, yeah? Stay.
To be is or am.
Go come stay. I stay going come. Pow.
Finish. All done.
One of the first things that comes to my mind is registering surprise, because it's almost dead on identical. And in Hawaiian it would be au we ku pa anahan no vau oyala au le mau popo iau okay ka mea mua au I ho'olohi kia nu ho and in Pidgin nah no act for real. Who would tell you that? Oh, first time I wouldn't hear that. Yeah. Who would tell you? Now you can trust me, bro. Tell me. I think there's an early life link between my Pidgin speaking and being Hawaiian, because the native Hawaiian kids I met in public school spoke it. And I gravitated toward them because they reminded me of cousins that I have. And so I associated speaking Pidgin to being able to hang out with the native Hawaiian boys. But the Hawaiian identity at the time that I grew up did come through Pidgin because the Hawaiian language was not used. And that consciousness about Hawaiian identity, indigenous Hawaiian identity, had not been restored when I was in the elementary school years. So there was a strong attachment between ethnic Hawaiianness and the speaking of Pidgin.
Before time, the first people in Hawaii used to talk Hawaiian. But early 1800s, the American missionaries would come, bring English with them. Mumbai, English was all over the place. Americans said, you gotta talk like on Haole. Haules as Caucasian people. But if we talk like Haules, what can happen to our culture?
That's a cool rock. Go back. People call us ghetto. What they gotta understand is we're not ghetto. We're country.
Yeah.
There's a big
There's
difference.
a difference. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest stereotype they give us down here?
We all live in shacks.
For real.
Right, I guess some of the cousins, they come down there like, where are all the shacks at?
We have houses,
I don't
guys.
kid you. Nah,
right, this is not Western Samoa, okay? This is Hawaii.
It's not American.
But Pidgin is so cool, like, cause
it's like we can just make up words on the spot.
I know, we go to the
chill and relax.
Just talking to each other. What did you say? Excuse me? Could you repeat that?
Or you go to the mainland, ask them for use the bathroom.
What's the bathroom?
We have a bathroom. We have a bathroom.
English. The baby is cute. In Pidgin, cute the baby. We make everything short and simple.
Short and simple. Yeah. It's funny how people say Pidgin. Oh, Pidgin is so hard to understand, but if you really think about it, it's easy.
Hey, come. Where we going?
Nah, but
we go.
If you go,
yeah, we go.
We go well.
The best part is everybody over here, they all work with each other, not like town side. Oh, I don't know you, so I'm not gonna talk to you over here. Sorry.
I don't know you. I don't know you.
Yeah, but you know what about Pidgin is anybody who doesn't speak Pidgin considers us or whoever speaks it to be illiterate. They see it as being illiterate. You speak Pidgin, you don't know, you're not good enough for that.
Everybody think we're not smart enough.
Yeah.
Like, one person that I graduated from Iolani and one person that I graduated from Minor, they both try to get on job. Who you think will get the better chances?
Austin, think of us. Oh yeah. Hey, that guy gonna build one stone wall. And the guy from my area gonna be his manager.
Nowadays, we get more English than Pidgin, but back then.
Nah, the only reason we get more English than Pidgin is because the standards for getting jobs, yeah.
I know, yeah, we forced to.
Like you can speak full on Pidgin, like, oh, bro, we can go, and then you sit in the office. Oh, I'd like to acquire a job application here if I can, please, sir.
Yeah.
You go home. He never give me a job. I just speak English for him. Okay, we're gonna come back. We're gonna eat him with a car or something.
Nah, but
go fly rocks.
Go fly rocks.
People still look down on Pidgin. From small kid time, everybody tell us, no talk Pidgin, or you're not gonna make them in the world. Shame you talk Pidgin.
Because we grew up in Hawaii, of course, we had lots of Pidgin incorporated into our English. Pidgin at that time was called bad English, so don't use that bad English, use good English.
And I think for a lot of people I know in Kauai who would say, that, oh, I cannot talk. I don't can talk, or I don't can talk good. Meaning that they speak Pidgin.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much I just talk like how I always talk, yeah. I remember when I was growing up in school, the teachers always used to tell me, oh, Lee, you write like how you talk. So I was happy. I said, that's good, huh? And they said, no, that's bad. It's funny, because my grandmother once, she told me, Lee, you're not supposed to use Pidgin. And yet, she the one, huh? She the one who gonna teach me all the Pidgin, because she grew up in plantation, huh? Yeah, so she said, don't talk Pidgin. But even when she said, don't talk Pidgin, that's Pidgin.
I could switch, and I think there was a difference there. It was easy for me to switch. So I saw it, when I spoke Pidgin, I saw it as, oops, kind of a thing, and I switch. I think there are people there who can't switch effectively. For them, it's even more devastating because then they can't express themselves. It's very difficult to express yourself if you can't do it in your own language.
Get some folks in Hawaii, like Pidgin, get more respect. They went form a group called the Pidgin Coop.
It's like, if they're doing something for a Pidgin, there must be that it's going to be about how bad Pidgin, and how you got to switch to
English.
Yeah, how you can talk English. So then
and if you stay on TV or something like that and they're filming you and you're speaking Pidgin, we all used to think, oh, we're going to look stupid if we're talking Pidgin, the camera take a picture of you talking Pidgin and then go on the news or whatever, then your mother can get mad.
right. Emil always tell us that we're schizophrenic. We talk about how Pidgin so much part of us and whatever, right? And yet when we talk Pidgin, we go, ooh, we cringe.
The small kid camp, you didn't have to think about, like, when I'm on a playground, I gotta talk one way, and then when I'm in a classroom, I gotta talk another way. Because, that was obvious for us. Because if you talk the way you talk in school, you're gonna get beat up.
Or if you talk in class, the way you talk out in the playground, the teacher would always
you're gonna get
scolded too.
Yeah.
Tonight, the board considers a curriculum committee recommendation.
Some people get all hoo-hoo, get real mad when they hear Pidgin. Go blame Pidgin when get low test score. They tell, Pidgin for the playground, not for school, but...
Perhaps the continued use of Pidgin, which should have died out decades ago, comes from a misplaced sense of cultural identity. Although why someone would want to be identified as a person who can't or won't learn to speak English correctly is beyond me.
Your newspaper should print a real reason why Hawaii public schools are among the worst in the nation. Students and teachers speak Pidgin garbage, a version of English which is only useful in slums and gang meetings.
Ebonics, Pidgin, secret handshakes, gang signs, tagging, all are desperate attempts to validate existence when the individual is too weak to establish one for himself. Does that make the person stupid or lazy? You decide.
You want to get up in the world, you have to master the English. Leave the Pidgin alone until you reach the point where you've mastered standard English. If you haven't mastered it, it becomes like a baggage. It'll hold you back.
The Hawaii State Board of Education has a policy that states English only in the classroom. If you walk into a restaurant or a plate lunch place and you hear folks speaking really heavy Pidgin English, I think the first thought is, oh, they're probably not real educated. They could be brilliant. So it has been an issue in many of our different rural areas where Pidgin is so strong. Personally, it tends to hold some of our students back because with it, if they're not able to engage proper English during a job interview or interacting with folks, it can count against them in the private sector when they go out into the so-called real world. So we looked at it from an educational standpoint that they need to have a strong command of proper standard English.
Not too long ago, the Hawaiian language almost went dying. 1896, the school and government would force people to stop talking Hawaiian and start talking standard English. Maybe that's the same things that happened to Pidgin.
Maybe we don't feel it's something good because gotta speak standard English, but you go talk story with everybody out there, you're not gonna use standard English, you're gonna use Pidgin for share your heart.
Pidgin is the people who talk it. So, you know, if you get rid of Pidgin, you're getting rid of people. I don't talk Pidgin. But oh, you just did. So why try to get rid of something that's one part of you? I know. In Hanabara days, the conditioning was classic. You can go bathroom, but depends how you accent. May I please use the restroom? That's how you gotta tell for keep the teacher from yelling at you. But what if you never do as you were told and your blood would explode? Bruh, you might be dead, but at least your parents could have sued the Department of Ed. I suppose the critics, they get all kind of names for me, huh? Yeah, but I don't think we should set it on top of the video, huh? But I guess people who's cool with Pidgin, like, they call me the Pidgin Gorilla. My great-grandparents came from Okinawa, came to Maui. They used to live in Kaimaki with my parents, but then my mom died, so pretty much my grandma raised me. Then moved to Aya when I was like 2nd grade. I would say that my first language is Pidgin, only I never know that that was my first language, yeah? To me, I just thought I was talking normal, yeah, because that's how my grandparents talk, that's how my father talked, that's how the kids at school talk. It wasn't until I went to college, it was like on sophomore literature class, like the teacher was using The Best of Bamboo Ridge, and this was along with other books like Shakespeare and stuff, yeah? Taiwan poem, it was called Tutu on the Curb by Eric Chok. And I was blown away, bro. Like, the poem was in Pidgin. I was like, wow, get guys writing in Pidgin. And we're studying them in college, bro. Oh, you gotta be smart for learn Pidgin. So from there, I was like, oh, this guy writing in Pidgin, I like write Pidgin too. So I started to take some creative writing classes. And after a while, I started to do like my 30-page research paper in Pidgin, just for see like what the teacher gonna do. So it was good, so I got A.
Lee said, "Pow English," and would start to write everything in Pidgin. Even get his first book, The Word, when come out in 2000. Stay written all in Pidgin.
People always say if you talk Pidgin, then you can't do all kinds of stuff, huh? My question to them is, okay, how many of those things you actually tried to do first before you say, oh, you cannot do all that kind of stuff, huh? They say if you talk Pidgin, you know, can get good grades, get a good education, get good job, get a smart guy, get a sophisticated guy, get chicks. They say if you talk Pidgin, you know, can give public speeches, join the military, look high class, make it in Hollywood, pray to God, read, run for governor. They say if you talk Pidgin, you know can.
So, how come get all this pressure for no talk Pidgin? Maybe when started in the 1920s when they went open the English standard schools.
They were segregated schools within the public school system. There was a lot of pressure from parents, European American parents, Caucasian parents who had come from the mainland and did not like the language that was being spoken in the regular schools. And so with all that pressure, the administrators felt they had to do something.
They would set up special schools, English standard schools, for haoles and kids who talk like haoles. If you was local, you could get in. First, had to pass the test, but
It was an oral test, and they asked you questions. I remember my mother coaching me, and it was those words that you would find a distinction in Pidgin. So things like turning off the light rather than pew the light or shut the light.
And the test was watching a teacher tear a piece of paper, and after the student observes that, the teacher would ask, "What did I just do?" If the student said, "You just tore up a piece of paper," you got to stay at the English Standard School. If you said anything that registered Pidgin to the ears of the teacher, you and broke the paper, you didn't stay.
For example, the number 3. If you said tree, well, that was a dead giveaway. Or if like dafara or damara or something like that, then you were out.
The teacher would immediately recognize the way you speak, and she would know that you're not going to speak the King's English, and we may not want you around. They'd split my family up. They wouldn't let my brother and sister in at first, but eventually they got us all in.
English standard schools played a significant role in the positive, I guess, for Mom, but for Dad, he didn't pass the English standard test. And so felt the stigma, I would say. And it all depended on their response to being so stigmatized.
They would close the English standard schools after World War II. Was against the law for segregate SY. The haoles from the mainland, they never liked their kids mixed with local kids. So, how the local kids were supposed to learn English?
Because I was part Hawaiian and I came from a poor family, my English teacher was my advisor. And he just said, "Oh, you'll never go to college. You know, the Hawaiian girls, they get married and have a lot of kids." So he didn't, and I was so angry. I said, "I'll show you." I was a Depression baby, born in 1929. And at that time, my parents moved to Kaneohe, and my dad planted plumeria trees, and then my mom started selling leis. And my dad spoke Hawaiian to my mom, who was pure Chinese, but she learned to speak Hawaiian. They spoke in their best English to us, but really we were speaking Pidgin. Mid-Pacific Institute, I had my schooling there. It's like a rich man's school, and I was poor, and you know, all my sounds were wrong. For ship, I would say she, and the THs, I'd say D. There was a professor at the university who took interest in me, and she gave me exercises for the teacher, like Theophilus thistle, successful thistle sifting while sifting a sickle on an unsifted thistle. When we had to be tested for the university, they complimented me to say that of all the students, I read wonderfully. Teaching, I interned at Kailani, and classes, a lot of Hawaiians and Filipinos and Japanese. So they spoke Pidgin, but I accepted their language and I communicated in the best way that I could. I never went down to the level, I never spoke Pidgin with them, but all my life I have never said, don't say that or don't do that or speak English, because I felt that was a downer. And like myself, you know, that's all you know. So how can you expect to do the right thing when you can't even tell the difference?
Plenty people switch back and forth, Pidgin to English, depending on the situation.
Anything else, sir?
But when some people hear us talk English, they still yet think we're talking Pidgin.
Today in federal court, trial opened for two men who were turned down for weather broadcasting jobs because they speak with local accents, technically known as Hawaiian Creole. They're suing the government in a civil rights case backed by their national union.
We're trying to understand why it is that Hawaii Creole English speakers are stereotyped as being unintelligent or unable to perform competently on a job.
It's not that I speak Pidgin or write Pidgin, is that I have a local accent.
During employment at the National Weather Service, there was a vacancy which is 2 grades higher than what I was at that time. And you were required to do a sample weather broadcast.
Hurricane Estelle, 390 miles southeast of the Big Island of Hawaii. Gale warnings are effective at 5 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time for the Big Island of Hawaii.
And the applicant that did get the job sounded like he was more from an English standard speaking person from the mainland. A lot of people felt it wasn't fair. It was decided against us. This judgment against me was a judgment against all local people.
Pidgin went to trial once, but we wasn't winners. We super qualified, but they gave our positions to beginners from the mainland, cause can understand somehow more better, the judge and go explain. We thought we could beat the friggin' language prejudice shows, but I don't know who we was fooling. What this National Weather Service ruling meant was even professionals who had schooling wasn't safe. Cause after the case was popped, people heard us talking on the news. They was all like, wow, the Pidgin not even full on. Like, you know, like that, the kinds. In fact, their Pidgin sound like can be minds. Sound like can be minds.
Green onion limo, girl. We like show you. Okay, anything else, girl?
And then a little bit upi,
like 1/4. Good, girl.
Right now. $20 already.
All right, girl.
People know about racial discrimination, but they don't know about language discrimination. But the same kind of thing happens, I think, when you stigmatize someone because of the way they speak, as because of the way they look.
I just was thinking about an incident where someone who was working in another office came and started talking to me in what he thought was Pidgin. And I was very upset at him, angry at him. And so I began to think about why I reacted the way I did. And it dawned on me that I felt that he was talking down to me. And I thought, my reaction was, hey, I can speak standard English. If you speak to me in standard English, I'll understand.
Get a good one there. Get a good one there. Here we go.
Oh, that's a good one, Uncle.
Oh,
not could match up. So, it's all right, I just play them this way.
Pidgin excludes if it becomes your identity and that's all you have. Okay, if it becomes a very strong identity marker for yourself, then you don't want others to have your identity.
Exactly like that too. When I switch to Pidgin, if I be threatening, so if I wanna sound more macho or whatever, then I go into Pidgin, a real heavy Pidgin, and then usually that shut them up, you know.
But I think kind of what I'm thinking is, like, why wouldn't I use Pidgin all the time? With every situation, it's always going to be English first as primary, and then Pidgin later, depending on the situation or depending on who I'm talking to. So why not Pidgin?
Makes you in your English mode right now.
Yeah, why not Pidgin?
Oh, wait, oh, we just like...
Oh, I hate when people say Pidgin is stupid, because, you know, it's the most creative language out there, I think, because we get to say everything we feel in our language, straight to the point. What for are you gonna beat around the bush? Just burn down the bush, go right through them.
People gotta understand, Pidgin comes from your heart, though.
Yeah.
You know,
But you cannot, like you can learn Pidgin, but
because
it's not the same way as saying them naturally.
Yeah, but you know what? No matter how much whoever comes here, they say, "Oh, I don't want to speak Pidgin because I'm gonna look dumb or something." It grows on you. It's something that grows on you. You cannot make yourself speak Pidgin. It's just something that comes along.
And you cannot make yourself not speak it, because eventually you can go to the store and you will talk to the same lady for 2 weeks and she speak Pidgin. Eventually you would understand what she's saying. No, she asking me if I want the Cheetos or the Doritos.
And she will be saying, "Okay, so which one you like?"
Okay, which one you like?
What
is she saying?
Or shave ice. Shave ice. You know how usually it's what flavor you like. It's not what flavor, it's what color you like.
What color?
What color you like? I like red.
I like the rainbow one.
The rainbow one, the banana.
That's something we pass on to everybody else, is our culture, because if we don't pass it on, if we don't share our culture, our language, and just who we are in general, we get nothing left.
Yep.
We get nothing left.
Na lei o halo la o halo aku o kupuna e o e halo I ka aina e a apo mai au e I nā mea I ke e o e haloa I ka poli o Hawaii nui a kea. Without the chant, I'm not a practitioner. My physical disability precludes almost every other kind of ancestral practice because it's in the doing of the practice that we become skilled and steeped. I have a voice. I know the language. I became a student of the chant.
Talk like that to him. Tell him, you know what attitude.
So when you was living in America, what? I grew up speaking Pidgin because of friends that I made.
He was too scared.
There was a necessity to use Pidgin. Our mom made sure we learned standard English. And then I went to a private school from kindergarten through 3rd grade, where all of that standard English was well reinforced. But things changed in our family life, and I went to a public school for 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade. I became more immersed in Pidgin through public school friends. I think it made me a more well-rounded local boy. Sophisticated hula men, they do it too. They do the oni and they coo coo coo. Ooh eh eh, army and slide. Ooh eh eh, army and slide. It was a ticket to some new adventures, a pass into a world that doesn't give out passes unless you know how to fit in. So because I am half Haole, I think that forced me sometimes to downplay the ability to speak standard English It was never an act. It couldn't be. That was one of the rules.
Put that there, and I can put this one here.
The learning and unlearning of Pidgin can set you up for admiration and pride, or the third degree, depending on what kind of parents you have and what the setup is with the speaking of it. If it's our family language, and you're uppity if you speak anything else, there's a problem for a learner. Trying to make a place for everything and everything in its place inside of you. And that's where Pidgin comes in, that you do belong. You can connect. You will communicate. And you can smile doing it.
Who or what would I be without Pidgin? I can't even hazard a guess. I could do the same activities. Surf, play the ukulele, go to the park, hang out with my friends that I did as a kid. But without Pidgin as the soundtrack for that youth, I don't know who I'd be. I wouldn't know my own self.
Moke.
One big local boy.
No mess with him, eh? He's one moke. Hopper.
Somebody who pot this, pot that, mixed.
Hey, so what? Movie, he hopper. Nah, he dog. Howley.
One Caucasian person.
Oh, brother, what's up? Oh, Howley to meet you too. Howley fine.
One local who no act local.
He went school mainland, eh? He come back talking all Howley fine.
Someone brought in a lei, someone else brought in Spam, someone brought in Hawaiian Sun Passion Orange, someone brought in a bottle of sand. And in looking at these objects, they're all different. You folks even had to think about a different word that represented what local is to you, and everyone pretty much had different words. So just from that short exercise, we can see that there is no one definition for what local culture is. And that's why we're really interested in hearing all of your folks' mana'o and getting your perspective on local culture and also your attitudes and your thoughts about Pidgin. I wanted to first ask you folks if you speak Pidgin. So maybe we can just kind of go around the circle and you can say yes or no.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes. Sometimes. Not really. Not really.
Okay.
Not really. No. Sometimes.
Sometimes. No.
Try to.
How many of you speak it at Punahou? Mahina?
Only when I'm with like public school girls, or public school people, just because they speak it a lot. Everybody speaks it. You can understand them. So I try to, but it doesn't sound really good because I sound like I don't know. It's just not good.
Okay. Okay, good. I was thinking about Pidgin, and I know that for some people, when they speak Pidgin, there's a reason why they do it. Sometimes to shut other people out, or it's a language of resistance. But when you speak Pidgin, what are some reasons why you do it?
For me, like just this weekend, like I saw this like huge moke out at Sandy's. He just started talking to me, and that was like a way that I could communicate to him really easily.
Okay, so in a sense, it kind of gave you the innas with him.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think Pidgin has its place at Punahou?
I think it is kind of exclusive in a way, but I think there's kind of like a subculture of, I don't want to say like ultra local people, but like the people who can speak Pidgin and the people who have that really strong connection to Hawaiian culture. And I think I find it slightly intimidating. Like, I find that I wouldn't really fit in there, and I feel that, like, if you don't speak Pidgin and you don't have that really strong tie and maybe the heritage that comes with it, then you're not really part of that.
We're like living in like a haole world, and like we're all like being taught to like be good haoles pretty much. And for us, like Hawaiians, for us to be able to like speak a language that just like allows us to be at home and like in our own world, I think it's really comforting to be able to just do that.
My parents like tell me like, oh, like try to cut down on it like when you're in school, because it gets to be like a pretty bad habit. So like, I just try to like not talk it as much in school, so it's like more like formal, I guess.
I think it's so important to preserve Pidgin because it's like a modern day like Hawaiian, you know, and it's a modern day like mix of these cultures. And by losing that and by learning like strictly English so that you can talk to people on the mainland and stuff, that's not preserving Hawaii and preserving the localness now. And I just think that that would just hurt this culture that has lost so much even more.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Hey, how's it? Wow, we got...
Did you get him to come here, man?
I will.
Are you gonna win in, huh?
Yeah, he's gonna try out for 9th grade.
Oh, okay. But you are there. Yeah. By the time I had my children, I never really spoke Pidgin. In fact, I couldn't go back to my original because I lost it when my sounds were corrected.
I've never really heard my mother speak Pidgin at all. It kind of surprised me in some respects because I knew she came from a poor family and a large family. My aunties and my uncles all speak, Pidgin, and yet my mother doesn't. The expectation in our home was that we were to speak proper standard English. But because I was the eldest of 8, I think that I mirrored the most of what my mother really wished upon her kids so that we could better ourselves economically, physically, mentally, and all the other things that come along with having a strong foundation of education.
He said, and you know what they said?
I just ran to the post. Nobody could catch him. 2 points. So it's 14-12.
I'm the second from the youngest of 8. And my recollection of growing up from Hanabata days, Mom would always stress, proper English. And at home, definitely try our best. And, when we go out and hula and play with the friends, then we would kind of cut loose and just, use our little slang there. But, something about the Pidgin language, you feel more comfortable in your conversation. But I was able to turn it on and off depending on who I'm with or the situation.
Now I look at my brother, his generation going 10 years back, my mother's getting more relaxed, the environment's changing, there's a Hawaiian Renaissance, and then she realized that, as long as you master English in our family, then how you go about doing everything else, then it's fine.
And you're gonna be 21 and you didn't register to vote.
But I don't want to.
I'm authorized to register people.
I can't vote
I
anyway.
gotta go home get the little application to.
Actually.
And so I'm gonna register him whether he votes or not. But I'll be bugging you every day.
Then how come you didn't make me do them then if I'm not gonna do them?
And then I'm gonna come by your house on November 4th and take you to the polling place. It's historical, you gotta vote. But the funny part about all of this, now that I'm older, I play poker with the guys on Mondays and Saturdays. And they're all these old guys that are from the country, Waikapu, all different places. They all speak Pidgin, but I roll with the guys and I can respond. So they like me because I'm speaking their language. So now in my old age, I am speaking Pidgin with them at the right time.
angry.
Oh, right, make me all hula that. Pao hana.
Work all done.
Lara.
Like that.
Oh, yeah, you like them ladies. No, Lara. The kind.
It's a verb, adjective, noun, whatever's. One word for replace any kind.
Hey, so what? You got the kind. Oh, you mean the kind? Nah, not that the kind. The kind. Oh, the kind.
Pretty girl, stop. Too much good looking. Number one sweet, naughty eyes make. Oh, 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 oh. You bet I'm cool. You know got chance. Not a fella, she's sweetheart.
Who's this up for?
But today,
Two of you. So I'm gonna put two of you. Yeah? I have a book launch. It's for the Kind Dictionary, the Hawaii Community Pidgin Dictionary Project, yeah? So I had to go around, go to all like the different communities and all like the different islands, pass out flyers, try to collect all the Pidgin words. Thought it was gonna be easy, yeah, but it was a little bit more challenging than I thought.
Hi, mine says kegging. It's supposed to be when you cannot breathe. You know, when you're out of breath. I got ukus. What is ukus?
Ukus is head lice. So everybody kind of offered to check for me, but you know, it turned out okay.
Before time, it means like a long time ago, you know, like way long time ago, small kid times, Hanabara days, yeah, before time.
Okay, my students who say, you know, the reason that they got their job is because they knew Japanese, they knew Pidgin, and they knew English. Therefore, they can talk to more different customers, huh? Yeah? It's just a matter of viewing Pidgin as a language. Once you view Pidgin as a language, you know, you can see it, that it has value.
Starting in the 1970s, over here in Hawaii, people was fighting for all kinds of stuffs. Fight for the land, bring back the Hawaiian language, and find our Pidgin roots.
A unique conference opened today at the Mid-Pac Institute in Manoa Valley. It's called Talk Story. The conference brings together nearly 200 ethnic American writers, singers, teachers, and playwrights from throughout the country.
I think those of us who organized Talk Story felt that it was important to get our parents' and grandparents' generations somehow into imaginative literature to record their experiences and whatnot. There's Mark Twain, you know, and Faulkner too. And it's the voices of people of various parts of the country. Thoreau's voice is a voice of New England in a way too. And by God, you know, Hawaii has its voice too. And this is the voice of Hawaii.
Was unreal. One Pidgin bestseller. When Pidgin to the Max first went come out in 1981, everybody went like buy 'em. We were so proud to see Pidgin in one dictionary kind book.
Stink eye. Dirty look.
Wow, you saw the stink eye she would give me.
Haole feet.
Tender tootsies.
Hey, let me borrow your slippers. This asphalt making my haole feet all hammer jang.
Cockroach.
Too still.
Hey, who ain't cockroach the cookies?
Nowadays, get plenty people writing Pidgin. Get local presses like Bamboo Ridge. Get college classes for study Pidgin. Have one front page article about Pidgin in the Wall Street Journal. You can even get one certificate for Pidgin and Creole Studies from the University of Hawaii.
This past summer, I got married, and it's so hard to find one guy to marry us in Pidgin, bros, and nobody like do them. I found one Catholic guy. He said yes and no, he can do them. Yes, he can talk Pidgin, but no, his church doesn't officially recognize Pidgin as one language, so he cannot do them. A lot of guys, they was very helpful, and then I said, and you can do them in Pidgin, and they're suddenly not so helpful anymore. Yeah. So eventually I found one guy, never talked Pidgin long time, he said. So he asked if I could translate the stuff he had into Pidgin, then he said he would do them, huh? How is it? Welcome. Today we're here for special celebration. Tracy Mio Akiyama
and Lee Akira Tonouchi, wife and husband to be. Before we start, let me say, everybody karma, not all same, Different kind karma chled get. You family, we've already pattern. From this one, you two own tapestry make. Like when Polaka cloth make, material come strong.
Marriage is not easy, right? So sometimes you're gonna have hard time. Sometimes you're gonna be happy. Sometimes sad, sometimes good. Just like the weather. But no give up. Do you take Tracy as your beloved wife?
Shoot, I chance him.
Okay.
Hello, thank you for coming. I want to go ask Grandma Tonouchi for tell, how can Lee and Tracy avoid fighting? She said, the one who stay home guys, you go ask them the question. That kind, they know more. Us, all what we do is go work, come back, go work, come back. We go work, come back, take care of the children. No more time for fight, busy. Next one, Grandma Tyra. I want to go ask Grandma Tyra for reveal to Lee and Tracy the secret to a successful marriage. Grandma Tyra says, when two-side argument, one side just gotta keep quiet and let the other side win, then no more fight. So I'm gonna ask Grandma if that means Lee gotta let Tracy win or Tracy gotta let Lee win. And Grandma said, yeah.
You let me pray? I will pray.
Okay.
God, mahalo plenty for today and for all you do for us, and for this time Joe and I can go look into your word and go figure out how to go sell me Pdgn. Mahalo plenty for this time, and Lord, give us your power for go translate this into your word for the people, because we your guys. That's it. We stay translating the Bible into Pdgn for the people who no function in standard English, or no can use standard English too good, and so we try to make them understand, because the standard English no speak to their heart. So when we first did this, I don't know how long ago, Joe, 1986, we was just kind of fussing around with this. We go, wow, Baga speaking to me, and was speaking to some other people too. And we thought, I don't know if worth the time for we'll translate the whole Bible. Maybe a couple verses here and there may be good, but more people said, wow, this speaking to me, speaking to my mother, my father,
Yeah.
That first time we just was doing the New Testament, and now we're trying to finish the Old Testament. The way you always see him, he do all the kind bad stuff. He do all the kind bad stuff. All the kind bad stuff. Just like everything Joachim went do. Was cause Yahweh stay hoo-hoo. That all the kind stuff happened inside Jerusalem and Judah. The way Yahweh see him, he do all the bad kind stuff.
Back to one real bad king, the one before Josiah.
Okay.
And from that time,
okay,
Yahweh no take nothing from these guys.
How about we say them like this? Yahweh stay hoo-hoo.
Okay.
S-Y.
Oh yeah, sure.
So Yahweh stay hoo-hoo. S-Y.
Yeah, no better.
We like people for use them for understand what the Bible's trying to say. Yahweh stay who? S-Y. All the kind of stuff happening inside Jerusalem and Judea. How's that?
Okay, so what people get?
I don't know. What kind of people get?
I don't know. Any kind. If somebody said, well, you don't belong here because you don't speak Hawaiian, I'd have to say, yes, I belong here because Pdgn was born here and this is the only place it is. and therefore I belong here because I'm a Pidgin speaker.
What's the flavor you like, Chris?
Strawberry, vanilla, and lilikoi.
Okay, 2 flavor, right? Okay. You said the strawberry.
Lilikoi.
Vanilla. My identity is nested here in Hawaii because I don't speak Japanese. I could not go back to Japan. I mean, that's just not my identity.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And although I speak English, I'm not sure that my appearance would allow me to easily blend in with English speakers. So it becomes a really personal marker, a way to put my place on a geographic track. It's like, don't belong there, don't belong there, so gotta belong here.
How come when I talk this they look at me funny? How come I know can find one job? If you don't like the way I talk, I get one thing for say to you. No act, you know you like the Pidgin, but you no can. You sound kinda low, shoulda never began. All I ask is you try to understand, just listen, no shame, no piliki when I talk to you.
This program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.